Hey, how's it going? Let's have a long, honest chat today because I know you've been there, and so have I. You know that moment when you're buzzing with energy, super excited, your mind racing, thinking tomorrow is going to be different. You grab your phone, set 12 alarms to wake up early, determined to kick off the day strong, ready to be that super productive person everyone admires. Maybe you even picture it. I'll wake up at 6 a.m., grab a coffee, organize my desk, check off every task on my list, and still have time to feel good about myself. It's a perfect plan, right? So you lie down, fall asleep with a smile on your face, feeling like you've got life under control. But then morning comes, and the first alarm goes off. What happens? All that energy from the night before vanishes like magic. Your hand hits the snooze button before you even fully process it. The temptation to stay in bed for just 5 more minutes is stronger than anything, stronger than your willpower, stronger than your grand plans. Getting out from under the covers feels like an impossible mission, like climbing a mountain without gear. It's almost as tough as trying to pronounce Worcestershire, that English sauce with the unpronounceable name. Yeah, you try, stumble over it, and give up. And the day, which hasn't even really started, already feels like an enemy. It's no longer a challenge you're excited to tackle. It's something you want to avoid at all costs, like a monster waiting for you outside your room. You felt this way before, haven't you? I know because I've been there in that exact spot countless times. And here's the thing, it's not just about waking up early. It's what happens after. You finally get up, maybe because the 10th alarm annoyed you so much you had no choice, and sit down at your computer. The cursor's there, blinking on the screen like it's taunting you, daring you to do something. Your to-do list stares at you with that sad puppy dog look like, please, help me, finish me. You know you've got stuff to do, an email to send, a report to write, a few pages to read. But where's the motivation? Where's the energy? You try to start, but then comes the fatal blow, the internet. It's like it has a magnet. You open a tab to quickly look something up, and suddenly you're jumping from site to site, scrolling through Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, hoping the algorithm throws something at you that grabs your attention. You refresh YouTube nonstop, wishing for a video with fast cuts, loud music, and content that distracts you for a few minutes. And before you know it, an hour or 2 has passed, and you haven't done anything except consume a bunch of stuff that adds 0 value. Memes, cat videos, stories from someone you barely know. And your to-do list? Still sitting there, untouched, silently judging you. But here's the deal, this video isn't like that. There's no fast-paced editing, no epic soundtrack, no flashing images to keep you glued to the screen. It's just me, sitting here with my shaved head and notebook in hand, a pen, and some ideas to share with you. No fireworks, no tricks, just a straight-up conversation, heart to heart. Everything I'm telling you now, I've lived through. I've felt that frustration, that sense of being lost, of not being able to focus on anything. That's why I can say with confidence, you're not lazy. It's not a lack of willpower or ability. You're lost, sure, but lost in the middle of a storm of stimuli that's hitting you nonstop, leaving you no room to breathe. And here's the wild part. This is totally normal these days. We're living in a time unlike anything humanity has ever seen. We've never been exposed to so many stimuli all at once. Social media, notifications, videos, ads, news, messages, it's an endless flood. Our brains weren't built to handle all this at once. They evolved to hunt for food, escape predators, and solve simple daily problems. Not to process 1,000 pieces of information per second while scrolling Instagram with one hand and replying to a WhatsApp message with the other. So if you feel like it's hard to focus, like your mind's always racing, like you can't sit down and do one thing at a time, relax. It's not that you're weak or incapable. With so much going on, being able to concentrate is practically a superpower. This video's different. I'm not here to distract you with special effects or hook you with cheap tricks. I want to give you a moment to pause, a space to breathe, to calm that overwhelmed mind. My plan's simple. I'm going to explain why you're feeling so lost and unfocused, and give you 3 practical tools to take back control of your life. Because I know how awful it feels to lie down at the end of the day and realize you didn't do anything worthwhile. That sinking feeling of failure when you see you couldn't even send an important email, write a single paragraph, or read the 5 pages you promised yourself. That's not laziness. It's your brain crying out for help, begging for direction in the middle of all this chaos. Before we dive in, let me be crystal clear. This video isn't a magic fix. I'm not promising that by the end of it, you'll jump out of your chair transformed, ready to conquer the world. This is a starting point, a roadmap to guide you. And the first step is simple but crucial. Stick with me until the end. I know that while I'm talking, your hand's itching to open another tab, check the comments, or grab your phone to see if a notification popped up. But resist. This is the first move toward taking back control of your mind, and by extension, your life. What I'm about to share with you is powerful. It worked for me, and it works because it's grounded in science, not guesswork. So take a deep breath, relax, and come along with me on this journey. Why are you so overwhelmed? Let's start with the basics. Why do you feel so lost and unfocused? The answer has a name, dopamine. But hold on, it's not just the old dopamine is the pleasure hormone story. It's more complex than that. Sure, it's tied to pleasure, but its main job is to motivate you to seek things. Let me tell you a story to illustrate. Scientists did an experiment with a rat. They put in a cage with a lever that, when pressed, released food or a strong reward, something that gave instant pleasure. When the rat's dopamine system was working normally, it kept pressing the lever, chasing that pleasure. But then the scientists shut off its dopamine. Guess what happened? If the lever was right nearby, the rat still pressed it. But if it was moved just a little bit away, like a few inches, the rat gave up. It knew the pleasure was there, but without dopamine, it had no drive to go get it. What's this got to do with you? Everything. Dopamine is what pushes you to seek external rewards. Back in our ancestors' days, this was key. It's what drove them to hunt, find water, build shelters. It was about survival. But today, it's what keeps you glued to your phone, scrolling Instagram to check out Cristiano Ronaldo's stories, or watching cat videos on TikTok. The problem is, we're living in a world of super stimuli. Everything around us is designed to grab our attention and trigger our dopamine. Notifications, short videos, games, ads. It's a constant barrage that fries our dopamine system, leaving us hooked on quick, instant pleasures. And there's more. Since we're always chasing these dopamine spikes, our brain starts getting lazy. It gets used to these high doses of stimulation and needs more to feel the same effect it used to get with less. That's why sitting down to read a book, write a text, or study for a test doesn't excite you anymore. Those things don't release dopamine as fast as scrolling a feed or binging a Netflix series. These super stimuli hijack our reward system, tricking our brain into thinking that opening a notification or watching one more video is critical, like a matter of life and death. And so you get stuck in this cycle, chasing quick pleasure, getting distracted, not doing what you need to, and the frustration just keeps piling up. But there's an even bigger piece to this puzzle, something neuroscience has uncovered in the last 75 years. The part of your brain that processes pleasure also processes pain. They work like a seesaw, a balance. When you do something pleasurable, like eating chocolate, playing a video game, or scrolling a feed, your brain releases a wave of dopamine, and you feel that nice rush. But to balance things out, it lowers the dopamine on the other side, the pain side. The trouble is, the brain doesn't always get the balance right. Sometimes it overcompensates, tipping too far toward pain to offset the pleasure you felt. Dr. Anna Lemke, who wrote the book Dopamine Nation, which I highly recommend, by the way, explains this with a brilliant analogy. She says it's like your brain tosses little gremlins onto the pain side of the seesaw to balance it out. But those gremlins don't leave easily. They're like hanging out there, weighing down the pain side longer than they should. That's why after spending an hour on Instagram or eating fast food, you feel bad, empty, like something's off. You felt that, right? That guilt that creeps in after wasting time on something that didn't add any value. And the worst part? These days, we're living with this seesaw constantly tipped toward pleasure. It's stimulus after stimulus. Phone notifications, YouTube videos, Netflix shows, online games. It's a steady stream of easy pleasure. Then, when you try to stop, to sit in silence with no distractions, your brain swings everything to the pain side to compensate. And you start thinking, my life's terrible, I can't handle anything. To escape that awful feeling, you seek more quick pleasure, another video, another scroll, and the cycle starts all over again. How do you break this cycle? But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is that while we can't change how our brain works, we can learn to tweak this seesaw. The trick is to tip it toward pain first, on purpose. That means pushing yourself to do things that take effort, studying, reading, exercising, sticking to diet. When you do that, your brain compensates by bringing pleasure back, but in a more balanced, healthy way. It's like you're training your brain to find joy in the things that actually matter instead of being a slave to instant stimuli. Little by little, as you cut back on this reliance on quick pleasures, your life starts to feel more meaningful. You begin to find joy in simple things like finishing a task, reading a book chapter, or going for a walk. It's not easy at first. I know that from my own experience, but it's a process worth sticking with. And to help you out, I'm going to give you 3 pillars to recalibrate that seesaw: your mind, your body, and the power of not yet. Let's dive into each one. 1. Your mind. Control what you consume. First pillar, your mind. Have you ever stopped to think that you have control over what goes into your head? This overwhelmed state you're in right now is because at some point you lost the reins on what you consume. The internet, social media, your phone, they all bombard you with information, and you end up getting swept along, taking in whatever pops up without even thinking. But here's the good news: you can change that. When I started choosing what I wanted to consume, my life flipped upside down, in a good way, of course. I'm not telling you to ditch your phone or delete all your social media accounts. Far from it. These things are amazing tools. They connect you to the world, bring you information, and give you moments of lightness in your day. The problem isn't using them, it's how you use them. The key is to consume with intention, with purpose. If you spend your day scrolling through feeds, watching memes and random videos, it's like eating fast food all the time. A pizza now and then is great. Everyone loves it. But imagine eating nothing but pizza, burgers, and fries for every meal, every day. Your health would tank, right? It's the same with your mind. Consuming content without purpose or direction fries your ability to focus and leaves you feeling more and more lost. So what do? Figure out what genuinely interests you and go after it. For example, do you like sports? Research training techniques. Follow athletes like Ramon Dino, a big name in bodybuilding, or Arnold Schwarzenegger, a global icon. Want to learn something new? Seek out videos, articles, or podcasts on the topic. When you consume with purpose, it's like you're hunting for something that actually matters to you, instead of swallowing whatever the algorithm throws your way. That changes everything. Your attention stops being drained and starts being nourished. 2. Your body. Get moving. Second pillar, your body. And no, I'm not talking about looks, about getting the perfect physique, or anything like that. I'm talking about movement. You need to find a physical activity that you enjoy. Could be walking, running, hitting the gym, dancing, whatever. The important thing is to move your body every day. Studies show that walking 10,000 steps a day, for instance, reduces anxiety, boosts brain function, and fights a sedentary lifestyle. But the benefits go beyond that. Moving your body helps rebalance that pleasure-pain seesaw we talked about. At first, it can be tough. I know because I've been through that phase. You start walking or working out, and in the early days, it feels like it's not going anywhere. On cold days, it's even worse. You look out the window, see the gray sky, feel the chilly wind, and think, why am I doing this? Why not stay in bed watching Netflix? But then you stick with it, and at the end of the activity, you get that I did it feeling. It's a different kind of pleasure, a deeper one that comes from effort, not from something instant. The key is finding an activity that motivates you to get out of the house, even when it's hard. For me, it started with walking. At first, it was a drag. I'd think, why am I wandering around, burning energy, when I could be home playing video games? But over time, I started to enjoy it. Now, it's one of the things that keeps my head straight. Sometimes I pop in a podcast, or some good music and just walk around, soaking in the moment. What about you? Have you thought about what might work for you? It could be something simple like a stroll around the block, or something more intense like training for a run. The point is to get started. Third pillar, the power of not yet. This is one of the coolest concepts I've ever come across, and it's from a book called Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. She's a psychologist who studies how our mindset shapes our lives. In one experiment, she gave tough problems to 10-year-olds, problems way beyond their level. Most of them got frustrated, thinking they were dumb for not solving them. But a small group reacted differently. They got excited, seeing the challenges as a chance to learn something new. The difference was in their mindset. The kid with a fixed mindset thought intelligence is something you're born with. You either have it or you don't. So when they faced something hard, they gave up, thinking it proved they weren't good enough. But the kids with a growth mindset believed you can get better with effort. They saw failure as part of the process, not a final judgment. What's this got to do with you? Everything, because we can apply this idea to our own lives. Sure, some people are born with natural talents for singing, playing an instrument, or playing basketball. But we can all grow in any area if we put in the work. And the secret to that is not yet. Instead of saying, I don't know math, say, I don't know math yet. Instead of, I can't play guitar, say, I can't play guitar yet. That, not yet, changes everything. It makes you focus on the process, value the effort, instead of getting stuck on the idea that you're not good enough. I've been there myself. In college, I worked hard studying for exams and doing assignments. Sometimes I look at how much effort I was putting in and think, Michelangelo created the Pieta at 23, and here I am, struggling to understand a self-help book and feeling like I'll never get it. But then I realized effort isn't a sign of failure. It's what leads to big things. Even the geniuses we admire, artists, scientists, athletes, faced challenges and worked hard to get where they did. A growth mindset is something you can build. Start by spotting where you're stuck in a fixed mindset. Is it at work? In school? With a hobby? Then shift your thinking. Tell yourself, not yet. I'm not good at this yet, but I can get better. And go after it, one step at a time. It's a process, not something that changes overnight. But when you start seeing effort as a positive thing, your life takes on new meaning. Putting it all together, the path to taking control. These three pillars, mind, body, and not yet, changed my life. They're why I started sharing these ideas with you. This video was long, I know. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. But here's the most important thing. You're in charge of your own path. Control of your mind is in your hands. If you don't take the reins, the world will, and the world doesn't care about your well-being. It wants your attention to make a profit, and it doesn't care what that does to you. But here's the cool part. If you made it this far, you've already taken the first step. You managed to focus on a long video, no distractions, no jumping to another tab. That's a win. It's not magic. It's the start of a journey. This video won't solve all your problems at once. You won't get up from your chair, transformed into a new person. But it gave you a roadmap, a starting point. Now the ball's in your court. Are you going to take control of your brain and your life, or let the algorithms decide for you? I believe in you. I know you've got what it takes to break out of this cycle of distraction and frustration. Start small. Pick one thing to focus on today, a simple task. Maybe it's sending an email, reading a page of a book, or going for a walk. Do it, feel that taste of accomplishment, and build from there. You're not lazy. You're not incapable. You just need a little push to take back control. And I'm here to help you on that journey.